She cheated, and you still cannot figure out why. You were faithful. You were present. You provided. You showed up. And yet somewhere along the way she found what she was looking for in someone else. The truth, it was never about the sex. It was never about your body or your performance or how often you were available. There are 7 psychological and emotional needs she craves more than physical intimacy. And if you do not understand them, you will lose her. Not because you are a bad man, but because you are blind to what actually keeps a woman emotionally invested. You have been there. Maybe you are there right now, lying awake at 3 in the morning, replaying every conversation, every moment, every choice, wondering what you missed, wondering what he had that you did not. And the worst part? You did everything you were told to do. You were the good guy. You were loyal. You were emotionally available when she asked you to be. You listened. You cared. And still she left. Or worse, she stayed but disappeared emotionally, checked out, started looking elsewhere. And you felt it. You felt the distance. You felt the coldness creep in. But you could not name it. You could not fix it. Because no one ever told you what women actually need beyond the surface. Here is what they will not tell you. Female desire is not linear. It is not logical. It is not transactional. You cannot win her loyalty by simply being nice, being present, or being physically intimate. Those things matter, but they are not enough. Because what keeps a woman emotionally bound to you is not comfort. It is not safety. It is not even love in the way you think of it. What keeps her is a combination of emotional depth, psychological stimulation, respect, challenge, and the feeling that you are a man on a mission. A man who does not need her validation to feel whole. A man who leads. A man who is present but not desperate. A man who understands that attraction is not built in the bedroom. It is built in the spaces between words. In the moments when you choose strength over weakness. In the decisions you make when no one is watching. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that is the first truth you must accept. You cannot control her choices. You cannot control her emotions. You cannot control whether she stays or leaves, but you can control yourself. You can control the energy you bring into the relationship. You can control whether you show up as a high-value man or as someone who is simply reacting to her moods, her tests, her withdrawals. And that shift, that internal shift from reactive to self-mastered, is where everything changes. Let us start with the first need, emotional depth and vulnerability. And before you roll your eyes and think this is about crying on her shoulder or oversharing your feelings, let me be clear, that is not what this means. Emotional depth is not weakness. It is not neediness. It is the ability to connect beyond surface-level conversation. It is the ability to share what you actually think, what you actually feel without fear of judgment or rejection. It is the ability to be real. Most men think they are being emotionally available because they ask her how her day was, because they listen when she talks. But that is not depth. That is politeness. Depth is when you can sit with her in silence and she feels your presence. Depth is when you can tell her what scares you, what drives you, what you are working toward, and she feels like she is seeing the real you. Not the version you think she wants to see, the real you. Women crave that. They crave access to the parts of you that no one else gets to see. And when you hide behind jokes, small talk, and surface-level interactions, you become predictable, you become boring, you become just another man who does not challenge her emotionally. And that is when she starts looking elsewhere. Not because she does not love you, but because she is starving for emotional substance. And if you will not give it to her, someone else will. There was this guy, successful, fit, good-looking, had everything going for him on paper. He was dating a woman for almost 3 years. They lived together, they had a routine, and on the surface everything seemed fine. But she left him, blindsided him, and when he finally had the courage to ask her why, she told him something that broke him. She said, "I never really knew you." 3 years, and she felt like she was dating a stranger, because he never let her in. He never opened up. He kept everything locked inside. He thought he was being strong. He thought he was being masculine. But what he was actually doing was building a wall, and she got tired of trying to climb it. That is the danger of emotional unavailability. You think you are protecting yourself. You think you are maintaining frame. But what you are actually doing is starving the relationship of the one thing that makes it real: connection. And without connection, all you have left is routine. And routine is the slow death of attraction. Now let us talk about the second need, unpredictability and challenge. Here is a hard truth. Comfort kills attraction. Predictability kills desire. If she knows exactly what you are going to say, exactly what you are going to do, exactly how you are going to react in every situation, you become boring. And boredom is the gateway to betrayal. Not because she is a bad person, but because human beings are wired to seek novelty. We are wired to crave challenge. We are wired to be attracted to what we cannot fully predict or control. And when you become too comfortable, too available, too predictable, you lose that edge. You lose the mystery. You lose the tension that keeps attraction alive. This does not mean you should play games. This does not mean you should be unreliable or emotionally unstable. What it means is that you should have a life. You should have goals. You should have interests that exist outside of her. You should surprise her, not with material things, but with your energy, with your decisions, with your growth. When you stop growing, when you stop challenging yourself, when you stop evolving, she feels it, and she starts to wonder if she made a mistake. She starts to wonder if there is more out there, and that is when the distance begins. The third need is masculine leadership and direction, and this is where most modern men fail. Because somewhere along the way we were taught that being a man means asking permission for everything, checking in on every decision, making sure she approves before you take action. And while collaboration is important, there is a difference between being considerate and being passive. Women are not attracted to passive men. They are attracted to men who lead, men who make decisions, men who have a vision for their life and are moving toward it with or without validation. This does not mean you become a dictator. This does not mean you ignore her input or disrespect her opinions. What it means is that you take responsibility, you take ownership, you stop waiting for her to tell you what to do. Because when you constantly defer to her, when you constantly ask her what she wants, when you constantly make her the decision maker, you are not being respectful. You are being weak, and she feels it. She might not say it. She might not even consciously recognize it, but deep down she loses respect, and when respect is gone, attraction follows. There was someone I know who dated a woman for a couple of years, great relationship on paper, but every time they went out, he would ask her where she wanted to go, what she wanted to eat, what movie she wanted to watch, every single time. At first she thought it was sweet, thoughtful, but over time it became exhausting, because she did not want to make every decision. She wanted him to lead. She wanted him to say, "We are going here. We are doing this," not in a controlling way, but in a confident way. And because he never did, because he was always deferring to her, she started to see him as weak, and eventually she left. Not because he was a bad guy, but because he did not lead. That brings us to the fourth need, validation and emotional presence. Now this one is tricky, because on the surface it sounds like she needs constant attention and approval, and that is not what this is about. What this is about is presence, real presence, not the kind where you are sitting next to her scrolling through your phone, not the kind where you are half listening while your mind is somewhere else, but the kind where she feels seen, where she feels heard, where she feels like she actually matters to you. Women can tell the difference between distracted attention and real presence, and when you are physically there but mentally checked out, it is worse than not being there at all, because it sends the message that she is not worth your full attention, that she is not a priority. And when a woman does not feel like a priority, she starts looking for someone who makes her feel that way. This does not mean you need to drop everything every time she wants to talk, but it does mean that when you are with her, you are actually with her. You are engaged, you are present, you are making her feel like she is the only person in the room. The fifth need is respect through boundaries, and this is the one most men get completely wrong, because they think respect is earned by being agreeable, by saying yes to everything, by never rocking the boat. But that is not respect, that is people-pleasing, and people-pleasers do not get respected. They get walked over. Boundaries are attractive. Boundaries show that you value yourself, that you have standards, that you are not willing to tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or emotional games. And when you set boundaries, when you enforce them calmly and consistently, something shifts. She might test them, she might push back, but deep down she respects you more, because you have shown her that you are not desperate, you are not needy, you are a man who knows his worth. When you have no boundaries, when you tolerate disrespect, when you let her cross lines without consequence, you are not being loving, you are being weak, and weakness does not inspire loyalty, it inspires contempt. You do not have to be harsh, you do not have to be cruel, but you do have to be firm. You have to be clear about what you will and will not accept. And when you do that, when you show her that you have a backbone, she feels safer, she feels more attracted, because she knows you are strong enough to handle her, and that is what she needs. A man who is strong enough to hold frame even when she is testing it. The sixth need is adventure and novelty, and this is the one that kills most long-term relationships, because after a while, everything becomes routine. Same restaurants, same conversations, same schedule, same everything. And routine is the death of attraction, not because there is anything wrong with stability, but because human beings need novelty. We need new experiences, we need growth, we need to feel like life is still exciting. And when you stop creating new experiences, when you stop challenging her, when you stop surprising her, she starts to feel like she is stuck, like she is missing out, and that is when her eyes start to wander. This does not mean you need to take her on expensive trips or buy her expensive gifts. Novelty is not about money, it is about energy, it is about trying new things, it is about breaking the routine, it is about keeping the relationship alive by injecting spontaneity and excitement into it. When you stop doing that, when you settle into the same pattern week after week, month after month, year after year, you are slowly suffocating the relationship, and she will start looking for that excitement elsewhere. And that brings us to the seventh and most important need, self-mastery and purpose beyond her. This is the foundation. This is what separates high-value men from everyone else. A man with no mission is unattractive. A man who makes her his entire world is suffocating. A man who has no goals, no ambitions, no drive beyond the relationship is a burden, because she does not want to be your purpose. She wants to be part of your purpose. She wants to feel like she is with a man who is building something, a man who is growing, a man who has a vision for his life that exists independent of her approval. When you make her the center of your universe, when you have no hobbies, no goals, no interests outside of the relationship, you become needy, you become clingy, you become emotionally dependent. And that is the fastest way to kill attraction, because women are not attracted to men who need them. They are attracted to men who want them but do not need them. Men who are complete on their own, men who are on a path, and she gets to walk beside him, not carry him. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." And that is the shift. Stop trying to figure out what she wants. Stop trying to decode her behavior. Stop trying to be everything she needs, and start focusing on becoming the kind of man who does not need external validation to feel worthy. The kind of man who is so focused on his mission, his growth, his purpose, that her approval becomes irrelevant, not because you do not care about her, but because you care about yourself more. And that self-respect, that self-mastery, is what makes you magnetic. Here is what I want you to do. Take a moment. Be honest with yourself. Which of these 7 needs have you been neglecting? Have you been emotionally unavailable? Have you become too predictable? Have you stopped leading? Have you stopped being present? Have you let your boundaries collapse? Have you stopped creating adventure? Have you made her your entire purpose? Pick one, just one, and commit to changing it, not for her, for you. Because the truth is, when you become the kind of man who fulfills these needs naturally, not because you are trying to keep her, but because it is who you are, you will not have to chase her. You will not have to worry about losing her, because she will feel what it is like to be with a man who is complete, a man who is present, a man who leads, a man who has boundaries, a man who creates excitement, a man who is on a mission, and that man is irreplaceable. This is not about manipulation. This is not about playing games. This is about becoming the highest version of yourself, because that is what she is craving. Not perfection, not someone who never makes mistakes, but someone who is real, someone who is strong, someone who understands that love is not enough. Respect is not enough. Physical attraction is not enough. What keeps a woman is the combination of emotional depth, challenge, leadership, presence, boundaries, novelty and purpose. And when you embody those things, when you become that man, everything changes. If this resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and drop a comment below. Tell me, which of these 7 needs have you been neglecting? I read every single comment, and I want to hear your story. Because this is not just content. This is a community of men who are committed to growth, who are committed to truth, who are committed to becoming the kind of men who do not just survive relationships, but thrive in them. And that starts with you. That starts with self-mastery. That starts with understanding that you cannot control her, but you can control yourself. And when you do, when you become the architect of your own value, you will never again feel powerless in a relationship. You will never again wonder why she left, because you will know that you are enough. Not because she says so, but because you have built yourself into a man who does not need her validation to feel whole. This is Stoic truth, where men find clarity,